thank you very much. Boy, the freaking White Sox, my God, 4 in the ninth. Oh, geez. Anyway, let's talk to our good buddy Kevin Loughery, who is the Mad Dog Unleashed basketball guru, who's going to give us some thoughts on a couple things NBA related. Kevin, welcome. Good to talk again. How are you today, pal? Okay?
Chris, how's it going today up in New York?
Doing well, Kev. Let's start with the Raptors, and let's start with Dwayne Casey, them getting swept. Is this a talent issue? Did he do something wrong? They won 59. They seem to be, very intimidated by Cleveland. They're 2-12 against them now in the last 3 years. Bad series here. How do you evaluate Toronto's season? What's your thoughts on that first?
They had a great, obviously, regular season, a disaster in the playoffs. And, LeBron just dominated the entire playoffs. And I give credit to Cavaliers. They went small with the good shooters on the wings with Culver and Love and Hill and Smith. They went small and let LeBron just take over. But I think they had to double-team LeBron the best they could. I would have really zoned it up a little bit. And if they get to Boston, I think Boston will zone it up against the Cavaliers, because Boston, I've seen in the past, plays a 2-1-2 zone a lot. So you had a double team and let someone else beat you. But I give the Cavaliers credit for going small, and all of a sudden Thompson came out of nowhere, and he started to play well for the last game against Indiana. Thompson was terrific in the first game in that series. It was good against Toronto. So, but you got to break up the club in Toronto. They've lost confidence in one another. When you get bombed out like that and the series swept after having a great season,
wow,
3 years in a row losing, I think they have to break it up. I hope Casey stays because he had a great season and just had a tough 4 games. I hope he stays. He's a good coach. He's probably up for Coach of the Year, probably as a chance to have Coach of the Year. But they have to break the team up, in my opinion.
All right, now, what's your take on Casey on that last possession, Game 3? Good move by Lou, not taking the ball at midcourt. He took it in the backcourt, so get LeBron on a full head of steam. Should Casey have figured out a way to make sure somehow, some way that LeBron can't go up there like a locomotive and do his thing when he made that shot?
I think they had a double team in the backcourt. But if you look at that play, Miles, who's playing Corver on the wing, is actually basically almost holding hands with Corver. I mean, you got to come and help out. If Corver makes the 3-point, I know they say, stay with Corver, but when you see LeBron coming firing down, like he's coming in full motion, like a locomotive, Miles had to come over and help out. If you ever get a chance to look at the replay of that, he is standing.
Yeah, I saw it.
Facing the play, and he's about a foot from Corver. Go help out. Corver makes a 3-pointer. Live with it, but that was really a bad defensive situation.
Think about it for a second, Kev. A lot of these teams with guards have not played that well. Lillard and McCollum get knocked around. Oladipo loses, and now you got DeRozan and Lowry out of here in the first round, second round. To defend Casey and the team, if you look at DeRozan and Lowry, these guys, they're not even in the top 25 in the current NBA. I can name you 25 players right now, top of my head, better than DeRozan. And it's hard to win these playoff series when you don't have a guy who's a top 20 player. You know that?
I tell you one thing, Chris, they're in the top 25 and making money. they got great contracts. But they first of all, both of them, for the guards today, Lowry is very small, not a very good defensive player. DeRozan's an interior player offensively. They have to, in my opinion, one of them has to be traded if they can. They can trade them. I'm sure they got value. But you need big guards. You know what the difference in the playoffs is? It gets so physical. I mean, the referees let so much more go, and it's banging. That's where Boston is really good. I mean, Boston bumps you every play, every single play. That's why they're so physical. And I think you have to be physical. Even with LeBron, as strong as he is, you either got to trap him or try to put a bigger guy on him. You can't let – and what's happening, too, in the NBA now, everybody's switching. I'm watching last night when Paul went crazy. They'd run a high pick and roll, and all of a sudden the center, Gobert, is playing a Paul 25 feet out on the floor because it's a switch. I was shocked the way the game has changed. I mean, it's a dramatic change in the game, and I understand that. But my goodness, you just can't switch everything and have a guy like Gobert playing Paul on the wing on the top of the circle. It's too tough for a big guy.
Yeah. So Lowry and DeRozan are too small. You think Casey keeps his job?
I hope so. like I said, Chris, I think he's done a great job up there. And the situations, I just don't think that team is nearly as good as people think they are.
I agree.
Let's face it. The East was really weak. They're really weak. Cleveland didn't figure out how to play until, they made major trades during the middle of the season. They didn't have time to practice. They're better now than they were in the beginning of the year. I think the situation, assume they're going to get Boston. That's going to be a good series. That's going to be a very good series.
Very good series.
That's going to get real physical. And I think the referees are really letting the players play, and the teams that are more physical have an advantage in the playoffs. And I really see that they're protecting. You're protecting LeBron a lot, and he don't need help. They're protecting Harden. Every time Harden goes to the basket, he really fouls. I mean, he makes contact. I don't mind him not calling it, but they're putting him to the line a lot of times when, he really is. He makes so much contact going to the basket, and so does LeBron.
And they get the whistle and they get the foul. Do you think Celtics win tonight?
I think the Celtics win tonight. I like Philadelphia's team, but I love the way McConnell played tonight. I actually was in watching the game by myself at home, and I started to clap. I really did. My wife came in and said, "What's going on?" I said, "This kid came in out of nowhere, plays so hard, and I think I could jump higher than him." And he's playing so hard. He's so physical out there. He got everybody playing better, and he did a terrific job on Rozier last night. And Rozier, to me, is a big difference in Boston. I didn't know he was this good.
Not at all. He's played very well.
McConnell did a heck of a job on him last night. He only had 3 points, and then McConnell went out of the game with about 3.5 minutes left in the half, and then he got a quick 5 when they replaced him. McConnell was in his jock all night and did a heck of a job on him.
I tell you, Simmons got to learn how to shoot, Kev. He no Magic Johnson. I mean, say what you want about Magic. He'd make an 18-foot jump shot, and he'd make free throws. He wouldn't shoot 61%. I know Simmons has all the talent in the world. You have to make you got to be, once in a while, please. You got to stick a 20-footer, and he can't do that right now. It's a major problem for that team. You know that?
In a half-court game, it's 4 against 5. He's fine if the game's in the flow and they're running, but he is such a detriment because he can't shoot. He hasn't made a three-pointer all season. I mean, it's a different game. But if he ever comes up with a jump shot, and that's not easy to do. That's tough. But if he comes up with a jump shot,
how does a guy this good who does nothing but play basketball his whole life? I would think that'd be the easiest thing to do. How do you not perfect the jump shot?
Well, the reason is, I think, Chris, that first of all, he's big, and when he's in the paint, he can score. But he's been so successful at every level he's played at because of his size, and he's been playing in a running game in most situations. You got to remember, at LSU, he wasn't very successful. That team wasn't very successful.
Oh, never successful. They stunk.
Yes. I had him as a rookie of the year because they finished up won 18 straight games, and Embiid was out a lot. But I think Tatum, to me, I thought was the best rookie in the NBA. And I think the kid at Utah, Donovan Mitchell, I think they have a better upside right now. But if Simmons ever gets a jump shot, because if you're in a half-court game, Chris, and they're dropping off 5-6 feet off you, you can't make great passes. There's no way you can make a pass because the guys are dropping off you. So he's got to come up with a jump shot to be more effective.
Yeah. All right. Now we'll get back to Cleveland and them in a sec. Let's do the Golden State series. I've made this point all day. I don't expect Houston to win a series, but if Houston wants to convince me that this year was a big deal, and they want to make a little step, threaten Golden State. Make them sweat a little bit. Make the Warriors win a game that they have to win. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that, but if Houston wants to solidify what was a 65-win team and Harden and D'Antoni's system and all that nonsense, make the Warriors have to sweat in this 7-game series. What's your thoughts on that for a second?
I think they'll make them sweat, Chris. The reason I say that is we never talk about Capella. He's a big factor in that team. He protects the middle. He's terrific blocking shots. He can catch the ball and finish. I think he's better than Gobert. Everybody disagrees with that. But he can catch the ball. He can finish the dunk. He can finish the short shot. And they're so much better defensively than they have been in the past. And that's why I think they'll give them a good battle. It's just two different high-scoring teams. Golden State does it with movement, And when they're playing good, when they're playing well, Golden State, they're beautiful to watch. The other team's either going to have a one situation with Harden going one-on-one or Paul going one-on-one and all the shooters on the wings. So it's a different type way to score. But when Golden State's playing really hard and they're playing great defense and they're moving that ball around, it's beautiful to watch. It's a different way with Houston, but Houston has improved defensively. And that series with Green playing, Green's going to end up on Harden at some time in that series when Iguodala is out. And that is going to get really interesting to watch how physical that gets. So I'm really that's for the champion. In my opinion, that's for the championship.
Oh, I agree, but
that wins the championship.
I agree, but I don't see Houston winning more than maybe they win 2 games, but it won't be 2-2. Maybe 3-1 and Houston wins Game 5. I don't trust Houston. I don't trust their role players making a ton of threes. Last night, Paul bailed them out. They had to work awfully hard against Utah. They lost Game 2. Golden State does not lose playoff games. They were pretty damn efficient against the Pelicans. I would be shocked if that series goes more than 6. You disagree?
Well, I don't disagree entirely. I think they're going to win. I think Golden State will win that series and then win the championship. But I think the situation, because of the improvement defensively, I think Houston has a better chance. I don't think they can beat them because it's I think when Golden State's playing their A game, I don't think anybody can beat them. And, I think it's a situation that Green can play Harden some. Iguodala can play Harden. And they got to play defensively. It's hard to defend against Golden State. They have so many ways to score. They're so efficient at passing the basketball. Everybody that starts for that team, when they got Iguodala in the lineup with the other 4 players, they're as good passing the basketball, moving without the ball. They got people that can shoot from outside. Durant's automatic when he's going good. You got 3 great shooters out there. Green is he's averaging a triple-double for the playoffs almost. That's a terrific team. But Houston will win a couple of games, in my opinion.
You will. All right, now, do you think it's imperative that Houston win Game 1?
Yeah, I think. Well, you got to win. It's always big when you're playing at home to win Game 1, and I think that's what happened to Toronto when they lost that first game.
I think it killed them. I agree with that. I think it killed them.
They lost. They blew that game. They say, "Oh, here it goes again."
I agree. Great point. I agree. Yes.
And Houston has to win. In my opinion, Houston has to win the first game.
I agree with you 100%. So you pick Golden State and how many?
I think 6 is a number. I think 6 is a good number. But I think it'll be competitive, and I'm really looking forward to that series.
Will that series be 2-2 or 3-1?
Say 3-1. I think it'll get 3-1. I think, again, we talked about it. The first game is paramount. If Houston loses the first game, look out. But if they win that first game, it could go 2-2.
They could.
Go 2-2.
That's not impossible. All right, let's do Cleveland and let's say Boston. Here's the way I would look at it from Cleveland's perspective. They don't have Irving, and there's no Isaiah Thomas. So those 2 guys are out. So Cleveland's not as good, but Boston's not as good either, and LeBron is still sitting there, and he's the best player. So could I argue that Cleveland will still beat them in the best? And they didn't have home court last year, and they buried them. They almost, they won in 5. They could have easily swept. What makes me think Boston can play better this year against them?
Well, the thing with Boston, I guess they got Tatum now. That's a terrific player. They don't have Irvin. That's a big loss. But the one thing about Boston, they move the basketball very well. They're extremely good on defense. I didn't think Rozier was this kind of player. He's very, very good. They got good perimeter shooting. Horford does a good job at his position, and he's not overmatched by anybody on Cleveland. They don't have LeBron, but I look at LeBron. Smart's going to play him. They got Brown to play him, even Tatum a little bit. They got bigger, tougher people to play LeBron. You're not going to stop LeBron. And it's not really a great shot blocker back there. But like I said before, I watched Boston play a lot. They'll go to zone type defense, and I think they'll be very competitive. But I didn't think that Cleveland would get this far. Thompson come up, played some big games. Hill's playing better now. They went small with the perimeter shooters. They're playing a little bit like Houston plays. Give the ball to LeBron, put the wing players out there. If they double-team LeBron, or he drives to the basket and pitches to somebody in the corner for a jump shot.
Right.
I think that it's going to be a good series. That's a tough series for me. I honestly believe that series is a toss-up because Boston's got the home court advantage there also.
Very tricky series.
They don't play well on the road. They don't play well on the road, but they haven't lost at home yet.
Yeah, they have played very well at home. Is Stevens he did not get a Coach of the Year vote, which is really hard to believe. They didn't have half his team, man. He didn't get a vote. Forget winning.
For me, Chris, he's the best coach in the NBA. That's saying a lot. I just said a heck of a statement there, didn't I? With all the great coaches you have in the NBA, I think he's the best coach in the NBA.
Why is he so good? Why is he so good?
Well, the team. Even I'm going to make a point in some key spots in the last series. The other team had the ball out of bounds. Philadelphia had the ball out of bounds. He had ways on side out of bounds. He zoned it up and caused Philadelphia to turn the ball over twice. They are tremendously prepared. You got to give Ainge a lot of credit because they've got toughness. Every one of the guys are going to start in that series. You go to Tatum, Brown, you go to Smart, you go to Horford, Rozier. They're all tough, physically tough players. That's a real rough team to play against. They're going to bang, and they're going to bang around LeBron more than any other team would, I think. And so it's going to be a great series. I think it's a toss-up.
Is Stevens? Is he got a big advantage over Lou in this series or not?
No, I think Lou did a good job. I think the adjustment he had to make was major when he went small in that series. It's tough. LeBron is really for any coach. I mean, he's the one-man show. But I think he did a good job by changing personnel. He went back to all his old-time players. All the trades they made, Clarkson,
Rodney Hood.
Nance didn't even get in the game. Rodney Hood and Nance didn't even get in the game.
Good point.
But he went back to the old lineup. He went back to his old lineup. Everybody familiar with one another. So I look for that to be a very good series. Of course, they got to win. They got to win tonight.
They have to win tonight. They should
win these next games. Yeah.
Which they will do. All right, Kev. We'll talk to you next week. That's a great start. So Golden State in 6, although they're going to be up 3-1, and you think Boston wins tonight, and you think a dead toss-up. Who's going to win Game 7 then? Who's going to win Game 7?
If I had to go to Boston and win, and everybody's healthy, I'd be nervous if I was Cleveland.
Even with LeBron. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, LeBron's great. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to have a lot of guys that they can't stop him, but they have a lot of guys who will bang with him. He's not going to be able to play just bully basketball against that club.
Fair enough. Kev, that's wonderful. Next week we chat. Keep the phone on. Thanks very much, pal.
Okay, Chris, pal. Take care.
You got it. Kevin, boy, what a job he did. He should be on TV still. We continue here on Mad Dog.